You have to kiss every one of us.
I do. No, thank you. This is fun. This is nice.
But, you know, just like we were talking a few minutes ago, it seems like it's a dangerous time to be a comedian right now.
Has it not been?
Well, there's Kathy. Yes, it wasn't always like this. Kathy, Bill Maher got in trouble. Colbert got in trouble. I mean, and we're talking about this kid who can't even make a joke using Trump's words anymore.
Right.
What's going on, do you think?
Well, look, I mean, I think we have to be careful of saying it's all comedians everywhere all the time.
No, of course
not.
not.
I mean, we live in an age where we want the stories to be bigger than they are. We live in an age where we want there to be an outrage or a thing. But at the same time, there are a lot of comedians who are not getting into hot water. There are a lot of instances that are not becoming a thing. So this is a story of a kid, but I'm sure there are tons of kids who won the elections in their schools and didn't get the election taken away from them. But this is the story.
Yeah.
No, but the things the comedians said back in the day were not even censored at all. I mean, we got away with stuff in those days that we could never get away with now.
You know what, to be honest with you, I think it's good.
Why?
I genuinely think it's good. I won't lie, as a comedian, I look back and I go, there's things I said that I shouldn't have been saying. Like, we're progressing, we're moving forward. There's things that we said about women that we shouldn't have been saying.
Well,
There's things that we were saying. No, I think there were things that we shouldn't have been saying. And if you look at the progress, if you look at what you're trying to do as a comedian, essentially what I know I'm trying to do is I'm trying to move forward. I'm trying to think progressively. I'm trying to push the boundaries. And I don't think you push the boundaries oftentimes when you play in the space that everyone is playing in, you know? So, I've done that. I remember a time when I loved making fat jokes because I thought, oh, look at this is edgy. But it wasn't, though. It wasn't ahead of anything. It was, in fact, playing in the space that everyone else was. So I actually think now maybe social media has just given people voices to speak to what they believe or don't believe in. I think it's a good thing. If you're a good comedian, though, you can still make people laugh at edgy ideas and topics that they didn't think they would laugh at. And that's what makes a great joke and separates
But
it
some of
from.
that edgy stuff gets censored. That's all I'm saying, even when it is correct.
Well, you still make me laugh.
I never really got into that kind of trouble.
Do you really think it gets censored now?
I think so, yeah.
I don't know if it gets censored. I think there's backlash.
There are consequences.
Yeah.
Yes. And shouldn't there be consequences for free speech? I think that's the mistake people make.
Well, you know, free speech is free speech. You're supposed to, there should not be consequences for free speech. People don't have to like what you say.
Right.
But there should not be consequences. And I think what Joy is saying is that it feels like things are, that people are starting to get censored, but through fear.
Right.
Because people are starting to be afraid of, you know, not being able to say something on stage politically.
Right.
Because there's going to be a backlash. And that used to happen with Nixon. That used to happen, you know, with presidents. You always sort of, you know, try to be funny and respectful. This feels a little different to most people, I think, because there are untold consequences out there.
Here's the confusing thing for me is, in America, I find a lot of the times people conflate freedom of speech as consequence-free.
Yeah.
But really, freedom of speech means that your government will not come after you.
That's right.
And maybe because I grew up in a country where the government could come after you if you said something, I was like, oh, that's the difference.
Yes.
You are free to say what you like.
Right.
Yes.
Somebody may still punch you, though.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
That's consequence.
That's different. That's different.
That's different.
Perhaps fire you.
I think what Joy's talking about is what you're talking about in terms of starting to feel the heat from places where in a free speech country you're not supposed to be feeling it. I think that's what she's talking about. But let's talk about this Comey drama. So the president says he feels vindicated after former FBI Director Comey's testimony last week.
Is he?
It's only because no one asked what dates he was given. I'm just saying. But how did you feel after watching that?
You know, I honestly feel like we are living in two different worlds. The rules and the scrutiny that James Comey, and to be honest, anyone in the government is put under, is not the same scrutiny that the president is put under. You know, it's an interesting parallel to see that, essentially, going back to what you're saying with comedy and even with Comey, we're all living with a certain set of rules.
Yeah.
In Donald Trump's world, gravity and honesty does not apply. There's a difference.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So you watch the Comey thing, And it was interesting to see a person who, I mean, the man is meticulous. Is he perfect? No. Does he make mistakes? Yeah, but I don't think there's anyone who's perfect. But it was interesting to see someone who did their job the best way they thought they knew how. They made the mistakes. They documented the stuff. And it was nice to see how people then contorted that, going from Donald Trump said he hopes that James Comey would be able to let the Michael Flynn thing go. And then that hope is not a command. Because, you know, as they say, parents tell you, I hope. And I was like, yo, if you grew up in my house and my mom or grandmother said, I hope you do something.
Yep.
Better do something. So,
Oh, yeah. You spend nearly every weekend on the road performing stand-up,
Right.
and you've seen more of the country than most of us, but one trip to El Paso nearly had you deported.
that was when I was first out on the road.
What happened?
Well, so here's my thing. I love going to different cities in America, because I figure if I'm going to live in a country, I want to know the places I'm in. So I've been everywhere. I've been to 45 states. I've been to hundreds of U.S. cities. I have a great time.
He's on the road every single weekend for a year.
And I tried to be. I enjoy it. And so I was in El Paso, and this is first when I started touring, and I didn't think to carry any of my documents with me. I was at the hotel. I wanted to pop to a store to buy some shoes, and I was using Google Maps to get me around, and there was no mall where it said there was a mall. And you know when that happens.
Yes,
and then I ended up at the border in El Paso. There's a bridge that just you can walk over the border, which I've never seen before. It's just like a bridge. And so I walked with the people. I was like, oh, this seems like where the mall is.
Everyone wants some shoes.
Yeah, everyone's going in the same direction. This seems like the action. I'm headed in the right direction. And then you go, there's a sign that says Mexico. And I was like, oh no, I don't think I'm going to Mexico. So you try to turn around, but they've split it up. So the people going into Mexico on this side of a fence and the people coming in on that side. So I'm trying to swim upstream now like a salmon, and I can't. And then one of the guards saw me and he was like, hey, keep moving. And I said, no. I'm not going to Mexico. I'm going to, and he was like, come here. And he's like, where's your papers? I said, I don't have any papers. He said, what do you mean you don't have papers? He said, you got to go back to Mexico then. I said, no. I'm actually not from Mexico. And this guy,
He's like, sure.
He wouldn't believe me. I was like, please. I was like, Google me. And he's like, I don't know what that even means. What does that even mean? So
What happened?
No, I mean,
He's been in Mexico
Google.
ever since.
So because you're well known, you got away with it.
Essentially.
But if you weren't, you would be in Mexico now. Yeah.
Google got me into it. Google got me out of it.
Well, this is the fastest 5 minutes I think I've ever seen. But don't be surprised if you get a knock on your door talking about where's your papers.
I get them on me right now. I got them on me.
We want you to come. You need to come and co-host. Let's just start with that. You need to come and co-host. Yes. You can catch The Daily Show weeknights on Comedy Central, and his best-selling book, it's a great book. It's called Born a Crime. It's available. You can get it on Audible. You can get it on any place you can buy books, and we will go and come right back because we can.